Arizona's about to do it, the illegal immigration law. People can just stop you and ask to see your papers. Today, protesters marched toward downtown because they said if it can happen in Arizona, it can happen here too. Sex on TV, see enough of that these days? Well, you see that commercial? Two networks said they'd seen enough, largely because that girl might have been too much for them to handle. Something you never knew about our governor. Something you never wanted to know about our governor. All the stories people are talking about right now on The Filter. Hello again on The Filter Forefront. Women in lingerie, except they weren't hot enough for Dancing with the Stars and American Idol. But we'll begin with this. It happened in Arizona. It sparked a firestorm of debate over the last couple of weeks. We talked about it last week here on The Filter. Today, outrage over Arizona's new illegal immigration law hit Los Angeles. Protesters rallied at the immigration building downtown, hoping to get Arizona lawmakers to veto the bill. Essentially, it permits police to just walk up to anybody on the street. If you can't prove that you're a citizen of the United States, they can arrest you. A new poll says 70% of Arizona voters support the bill. It's already passed the House and Senate. The governor is expected to sign it. Joining us, our contributor, civil rights attorney, and radio talk show host Leo Terrell, and the executive editor of RedCounty.com, Matt Cunningham. Our pictures are furnished by Skype. Matt, I'm going to start with you. The protesters marched because they said if it can become law in Arizona, it can become law in California. You think that's possible?
Not with this legislature. This is the legislature that passes a law saying illegal aliens can get driver's licenses. I don't think they'll pass a law anything like what Arizona passed. I imagine it's always possible if you put something like this on the ballot. There's a possibility it could pass, given overall resentment in the state against the failure to stop illegal immigration. I wouldn't advocate for it. I think there are better ways to control illegal immigration and solve the entire immigration issue itself. But I think it goes to show that people are fed up with the federal government's failure to control the borders and ensure border security.
Leo, what do you think?
Fred, yes, it can pass. Let's not forget Prop 187 here, where they passed that about a decade ago, which was ruled unconstitutional. Fred, the problem with this law is very simple. They're targeting Hispanics. They wouldn't target a blonde, blue-eyed person like me if I was in Arizona, but they would target that's a joke, Fred. Yeah, they would target Hispanics, and that's the problem that I have. It is targeted towards Hispanics, and that's racial in its context.
Okay, but
Fred,
Leo, let me just say
no
this. Leo, let me say this. I don't think anywhere in the law it says Hispanics. Now, I know what you're saying.
Right.
But that's not in the verbiage.
You're right, Fred, but let's be honest. In Arizona, near the Mexican border, what would happen is if I was walking across the street as a blonde, blue-eyed person and a Hispanic or a Mexican, the police officer is going to gravitate towards the Hispanic or the Mexican because of the problems they've had with illegal immigration coming over the border. It's targeted, Fred, towards Hispanics, even though there's no language to targeted.
It's targeted towards illegal immigrants, and I think it's common sense. We know where the illegal immigrants come from. They're not coming from Canada. They're not coming from Sweden. They're coming from Mexico.
There are illegal immigrants from Europe, from Canada, and it doesn't bother Americans.
It's a fraction of the problem. If there was
they're still illegal, Matt. They're still illegal, and let's face it. It's
but Leo, if there were 20,000 illegal immigrants coming in this country every year, no one would care. People care because there's a flood of them, and it's obvious where they're coming from.
Let me just say this.
Economic and race.
All right, let me just say this real quick. I know we don't want to go over tonight, but we're going to go over. An Arizona senator said, illegal is not a race. Illegal is illegal. Now, Matt, I think you buy that. Leo, you don't, right?
I don't buy it, Fred, because it's going to be selectively enforced towards Mexicans and Hispanics. That's why I don't buy it.
Matt, you want the final word?
I just think that's demagoguery. I think it's obvious where the illegal immigrants overwhelmingly come from. So you call it targeting, or you just say you're meeting the problem where it's happening at the border with Mexico, and we're going to tend to see Mexicans coming in from Mexico.
Okay, let's move on, guys. I don't want to get too far over. Politics as usual just isn't cutting it anymore. Americans are upset with our political system. The Tea Party movement is one clear indication something's got to give. A new USA Today poll says a majority of people in this country disapprove of both political parties. 75% of people say Washington is broken. And you know what? Most of them blame it on President Obama. The economy. Most people blame Obama. In fact, 50% of people says Obama doesn't deserve to be reelected. Is that fair? Think it's all the president's fault, Leo?
I think in part, yes. The Democratic Party is known as the working man's party. Unemployment has gone sky high, Fred, during the Obama administration. Yes, let's give some blame to President Bush. However, President Obama's domestic policy, his TARP plan, has not put people to work. Double-digit unemployment. Obama's looking at a one-term presidency right now, a la Jimmy Carter.
Matt, do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I think he's been in office a year. He can't keep blaming the Bush administration. This recession started well before Obama took office. We've tried every policy he's wanted to get through to deal with the economy has been passed, and they're all failing miserably. He said if we pass the stimulus package, unemployment wouldn't go past 8%. It's well above that. The growth is sluggish. Taxes are about to go up. We're punishing success. We're punishing risk-taking and innovation, that sort of entrepreneurship that drives economic growth. And I think Leo's right. I think the only thing that could save President Obama at this point is a Republican takeover Congress that puts the brakes on his explosive expansion of the federal government. And then there might be a chance for the economy to get its bearings and start growing again.
And the sad part about it, Fred, is that Obama promised change. And basically, it's the same old Washington politics. And the American public, basically, in my opinion, is disappointed in Obama because there's been no change. It's the same old Washington establishment inside baseball, inside the Beltway. And that's why a lot of people are upset with Obama.
All right. So, Leo, Matt, you basically agree on that. Let's go to this. So Americans are fed up with Democrats and Americans are fed up with Republicans. Turns out the Tea Party's favorable rating was almost as high as either of our political parties. So perhaps the Tea Partiers are onto something, and perhaps the growing face of that movement could soon be our next president. That's right. Sarah Palin is back. Whether Tea Party or Republican Party, and there's a huge overlap there, it seems Palin continues to gain ground for a potential White House run just 2 years from now. She's largely been mum on the subject, but today she said she'll pursue a presidential bid in 2012 if it's the best way to help everyday people change their lives and meet their challenges. Sounds like she's gearing up. Otherwise, why would she speak at all these rallies? Matt, could Sarah Palin possibly be the answer?
Well, she very well could be. I mean, look at this is a lady who has been underestimated from the day she was selected to be John McCain's vice president. She has endured a merciless attack in the mainstream media, unlike I think we've seen it directed towards anybody in modern American politics. And she's still standing. She's probably more popular with Americans than ever before. Sure, her negatives are higher, but I think she taps into some aspect of the American mainstream, the dissatisfaction of ordinary Americans with the direction of their country, the direction of their government. A government that has grown so big and so overbearing, unlike anything they have experienced or even had anticipated when Barack Obama became president. So it's not foreordained. I think she has a lot of work she has to do in terms of repairing damage to her reputation in terms of grasp of policy issues, I think. But who would have thought in 2006 that Barack Obama was going to upset Hillary Clinton and win the White House with a majority for the first time by a Democratic candidate in 30 years. So anything's possible these days.
Time out here. Let me tell you right now, I'll offer you a Happy Meal. I'll bet a Happy Meal. Sarah Palin will not get the nomination. She will be eaten alive within her own party. The Huckabee, the Romney, the candidates who are going to be running for the Republican primary will eat her alive. She's the darling of the conservative wing of the Republican Party, but she will not make it out of the primary, I guarantee you.
I'll take that back.
Well, here's my point. She's in an easy position because she's the party out, and she can criticize the Obama administration without suggesting alternative. Let me be clear. She will not get out of the primaries. She will be done in by her own political party.
I'll take that bet. If she runs, I bet the current crop she wins the nomination.
Okay, then we got a Happy Meal bet on that.
Wow. A Happy Meal. I get the toy.
All right.
Either way, I guess what you're suggesting, Leo, is she's going to be eaten by her own. So somebody is going to get to eat here, either with your bet or in her own party. Okay.